So Deuteronomy 32, starting in verse 8, and this is ESV, and I emphasize that for a quick side point after I read this. And it says, "When the Most High gave to the nations their inheritance, when he divided mankind, he fixed the borders of the peoples according to the number of the sons of God. But the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob his allotted heritage." So it's like, well, what's he doing here? And so the reason I specified for this little side point that I'm reading ESV is because the ESV has the phrase "the sons of God" in here.
Yeah.
And so if anyone else is reading another translation, there's a chance that your translation in English says "sons of Israel."
Mm.
And so that's an interesting quick point, because some people might see that and be like, it doesn't say that. It says "sons of Israel."
Right.
And it's like, well, actually, and this is a lot of, like, I think most scholars would agree with this, that so the sons of Israel.
I mean, the ESV
reading,
is a witness to that. Most
Yeah.
scholars.
Yes. So the sons of Israel reading comes from the Masoretic text, and the sons of God reading comes from the Dead Sea Scroll text,
Okay.
which is considered the more accurate one.
Right.
Um,
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
yeah. So there is that different reading in there.
So up until the Dead Sea Scrolls, it was always read as Sons of Israel.
Correct.
Huh.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Which is fascinating, right?
It is. And why is it fascinating?
Well,
Paul?
it's fascinating because it's like it points to two different things.
It does.
And on one, and this is I've seen this with several scholars when they talk about this little contention in here of why it doesn't make sense that it's sons of Israel. And one of them is like, well, we're in the Table of Nations section right now where it lists the nations, and Israel's not one of them.
Right.
And so it's like, one, it's like that doesn't make logical sense.
Yeah, because what does he call the region?
What do you mean?
Like the region that God governs, that he allots to himself?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, he calls it, I think he just says Jacob. Let me
Yeah.
pull it up.
And if you don't remember or don't know,
Yeah, Jacob, his allotted heritage.
So if you don't know or don't remember, Jacob's name changes to Israel.
Yes.
After he wrestles with the angel of the Lord.
Yeah.
And so that's that if he calls it Jacob,
Mm-hmm.
then he's intentionally not calling it Israel.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would
Yeah.
say Israel. But also it's weird that it would say,
And also, it doesn't make sense that you're dividing the nations by the sons of Israel. It's like, well, that's not actually what happened, though. Because then
but then
because
to
then what
call
he's saying
his
is, like,
allotment Jacob doesn't make sense.
it doesn't, because it's like, wait, so you're splitting up from your own people to make all these other nations, but then you're making your own nation from the same people? It's like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
It's really confusing that way.
Yeah, because that would be saying all the people of the earth are Israel
Yeah.
at the point of the separation. And that's not true.
Which is, that'd be a weird way to see that.
Right. Yeah, so then it says, so it's split up by sons of God. And that's part of the naturalistic reading of it.
Yes.
It's like, that would be the answer to the question that I had. That would be like answering the question that I had, that I was just saying that my landlord is like Satan.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, no, my landlord is Satan.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what we're seeing here. It's like, so if this is being split up amongst the sons of God,
Right.
to rule over them, except for the Lord's portion,
Right.
it's actually this is a really cool point on that, which that term in here is divine geography.
Yeah.
And we actually have an instance in 2 Kings where we actually kind of see this at play.
So what are we saying here?
find
So
it here.
if we're naming the nations as they are being allotted and split out, and it's the 70 nations, right?
Yes.
So,
You're
and that's
correct.
just like a number of completion.
Yeah.
So whether it was 70 literally or just the full amount,
Yeah.
like all nations were split out.
Yeah.
Those are synonymous.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in the language, like bringing that all together. So what that means is that Moses, in writing Deuteronomy, is telling us an answer from the Lord of why is everything broken out? Why is it all split up? Why do things work the way that they work? And everything is broken out and split up, but Israel, or the inheritance of Jacob, the ruler of that is the Lord, which means that every other nation has a ruler in relationship to the Lord, which is specific. That and I feel like reading it as the sons of Israel pushes it into like the 12 tribes are over the whole earth and Israel is ruling the earth.
Right, which isn't happening.
No, and it would also push it into prophetic language.
Yeah.
It would push it more into revelation language of like, this is what will happen in the new heavens and the new earth, which we do see that in Revelation.
But we don't see that language here.
We don't see that.
And actually, when we look at other parts of Deuteronomy, it reinforces this. So we see in Deuteronomy 4:19, Moses warns them not to worship the host of heaven.
Yes.
So 4:19 says, "And beware lest you raise your eyes to heaven, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, all the host of heaven, you be drawn away and bow down to them and serve them, things that the Lord your God has allotted to all the peoples under the whole heaven." And then we see further Deuteronomy 29:24-26. It says, "All the nations will say, 'Why has the Lord done thus to this land? What caused the heat of this great anger?' Then the people will say, 'It is because they abandoned the covenant of the Lord and the God of their fathers, which he had made with them when he brought them out of the land of Egypt, and went and served other gods and worshipped them, gods whom they had not known and whom he had not allotted to them.'" And then directly after 32:8 and 32:17, it says, "They sacrificed to demons that were no gods, to gods they had never known, to new gods that had come recently, whom your fathers had not known of." And so it's like when we look at 32:8 in the context of other parts of Deuteronomy, it's like, well, it's clear what he's talking about. Yeah. And it's not human Israelites.
No, it's also not pieces of metal.
Right.
And like that's a pretty big distinction. Like I feel like the only reason I say that and like diminish it in that way is because I feel like that's how I feel like that's what the worldview is at the moment in large part, is just like just read through it and understand the story. Like just get to Jesus. Just get to the Jesus part. And it's like, but why did he have to come?
But why did
he have to, like, it's...
Well, and because when we skip through like that, we get to the temptations and we go, okay, cool.
Right.
And it's like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
There's a lot here.
It's explaining everything behind it.
Yeah. The language that's being drawn from here comes from somewhere.
Yeah.
And so why is it a temptation?
Right.
Well, this is why it's a temptation.
Yeah. Because, and that's, and again, it's not like that's what the danger is in things like astrology. It can be, but it's not just saying like the balls of fire out in
right
above the firmament.
Well, even talking about
sorry, I had to.
That like poetic language is like, well, we know when it talks about the stars and the moon and the sun, it's like that is talking about the heavenly host. It clarifies that inside Deuteronomy. We see that all throughout Revelation as well.
You also see it in Job.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and it's the same language.
Yeah, talking about the Ben Elohim.
Yeah. So like that is one of those things where it's like the sun, moon, the stars, like when they set it into place, like when it was set into place, were you there? Well, there were things there. Mm-hmm. And even when he says that to Job, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, he's not talking about when I made big balls of gas and put them up in outer space. It's like, that's not what he said.
No.
Yeah.
So like that, so all of those things are at play. And so what does that mean? It means that there was a certain point where the nations were divided among the earth. Yes. And those nations being divided were similar to the inheritance of Jacob, who had a God that ruled it, and not a human God. Yeah. But instead a God. Yeah.
A lesser Elohim.
Yes.
I guess is a weird way to say
a
that.
lesser Elohim than the Elohim.
Yeah, than Yahweh.
Than Yahweh.